Go ahead.
Genesis 1. Creation. Days 1 to 6. Day 1. Light, day and night. Day 2. Expanse, or heaven. Day 3. Earth, land and sea. Vegetation. Day 4. Lights, sun, moon, stars. Day 5. Swarms in sky and sea. Day 6. Creatures of land. Man. Genesis 2. Creation. Day 7. Day 7. God rested. Description of Eden. Creation of man and woman. Genesis 3. The fall in the garden. Genesis 4. Cain kills Abel. Line of cursed Cain. Enoch, Irad, Methuselah, Lamech, son from Adam. And then Jabal, Tubal came from Lamech's 2 wives. Seth, born to Adam. Genesis 5. Adam's descendants to Noah. Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared. Enoch, 7th from Adam, translated to heaven. Methuselah, Lamech, Noah, 10th from Adam. Genesis 6. 120 years of grace. Noah is instructed and builds the ark. Genesis 7. The flood. Genesis 8. The waters subside. Noah's sacrifice and God's covenant. Genesis 9. God's covenant with Noah continued. The rainbow. Ham's rebellion against Noah his father. He is cursed. Noah's death. Genesis 10. 70 nations from the line of Noah. Genesis 11. Tower of Babel. Shem's descendants to Abram. Terah with Abram moves to Haran. Genesis 12. Abram and Sarai sojourn in and exit. The call of Abram. Abram and Sarai sojourn in and exit from Egypt.
What happens after the call of Abram? Call of Abram and
Entrance into Canaan.
good.
Genesis 13. Abram and Lot separate. Lot settles in the Jordan Valley. Genesis 14. Abram defeats the kings of the valley and rescues Lot. Abram gives tithe to Melchizedek. Genesis 15. God cuts the covenant with Abram and promises the land. Genesis 16. Hagar and Ishmael. Sarah gives Hagar to Abram. Ishmael is born. Genesis 17. Abraham's household, Isaac's birth from Sarah promised. Abraham's household circumcised.
You skipped one. God's
covenant with Abraham. Genesis 18. Abram and Lot.
What? Genesis 18.
Genesis 18. Abraham.
Who consults? Who consults Abraham?
God consults Abraham about destroying the cities of the Jordan Valley. Abraham intercedes for Sodom. Genesis 19. The 2 angels rescue Lot. God destroys Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot's life is turned into a pillar of salt. Lot and his daughters live in the hills.
I don't see anything about the wife turned into a pillar of salt.
But it's in Genesis 19.
Good job. What's next?
Genesis 20. Abimelech attacked Sarah by taking her from Abraham. After Sarah is released, they remain settled in Gerar. Genesis 21. Isaac's birth. Hagar and Ishmael are cast out. God's promises to them. Abraham's covenant with Abimelech. Genesis 22. The sacrifice of Isaac. Genesis 23. Sarah's death and burial in the cave at Machpelah. Genesis 24. Abraham's servant finds Rebekah, a wife for Isaac. Genesis 25. Abraham and Keturah. Abraham dies. Abraham's seed through Ishmael. Birth of Jacob and Esau. Esau sells his birthright to Jacob. A big one next. Genesis 26. Isaac in Philistine territory. Famine forces Isaac to move. His bride is attacked. Isaac reaps bountiful harvest. Envious Philistines drive Isaac away. Isaac digs wells and settles down in the valley of Gerar. Isaac moves to Beersheba. Abimelech and Isaac make a covenant. Esau's pagan wives. Genesis 27. Jacob supplants Esau and receives Isaac's blessing. Genesis 29. Rebekah sends Jacob to Laban. Esau marries an Ishmaelite. Jacob's heavenly dream. That's not the right chapter.
It's 28.
Mm-hmm. Didn't you say 28? What did you say?
29.
Oh.
Genesis 29. Jacob serves Laban 14 years for 2 wives, Leah and Rachel. Leah bears Jacob's first 4 sons, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah. Genesis 30. Jacob has more sons by his wives and their servants. Bilhah, Dan, Naphtali, Zilpah, Gad, Asher, Leah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Dinah. Rachel, Joseph. Laban's prosperity because of Jacob. Genesis 31. Jacob flees Laban. Jacob's covenant with Laban. Genesis 32. Jacob fears meeting Esau. Jacob wrestles with God. Genesis 33. Jacob meets Esau and settles in Succoth. Genesis 34. Dinah defiled by Shechem. Levi and Simeon kill and plunder Shechem. Jacob curses them. Genesis 35. Genesis 35. Jacob moves to Bethel and is renamed Israel. Rachel dies as Benjamin is born. Isaac dies at 180 years. Genesis 36. Descendants of Esau, Edom. No date. Genesis 37. Joseph's royal coat and his dreams. Joseph sold by his brothers. He ends up in Egypt at the age of 17. Genesis 38. Judah's oldest 2 sons die without children. Judah's wife dies. Tamar seduces him. Sons born to Judah. Genesis 39. Joseph is falsely accused by Potiphar's wife and is thrown into prison. Genesis 40. Joseph interprets the dreams of Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker. Genesis 41. Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dreams. Joseph second in command. Famine after 7 years of plenty. Genesis 42. Joseph's brothers go to Egypt to buy food. Joseph calls them spies, demons to see Benjamin, and imprisons Simeon. Genesis 43. Joseph's brothers.
Where do they go?
Joseph's brothers return to Egypt with Benjamin and feast with Joseph. Genesis 44. Joseph tests his brothers by putting his royal cup in Benjamin's grain sack. Judah offers himself as a substitute. Genesis 45. Joseph makes himself known to his brothers. Jacob hears that Joseph is alive. Genesis 46. Jacob takes his family down to Egypt after offering sacrifices in Beersheba. Jacob's family listed. Jacob and Joseph are reunited. Genesis 47. Jacob settles in Goshen. Jacob's family settles in Goshen.
Good.
Joseph's brothers.
What does Joseph do?
buys all Egypt for Pharaoh in exchange for food. Jacob is at the end of his life. What does that mean? Genesis 48. Jacob claims Ephraim and Manasseh as his own and blesses them. Genesis 49. Jacob blesses his 12 sons. Jacob dies. Genesis 50. Jacob is buried in Canaan. Joseph forgives his brothers. Joseph instructs that his bones be carried up from here and dies.
Good job. We're gonna clap for Benjamin?
Yeah.